Hey, what's up, everybody? What's up? Great
Hey.
evening. Shout out to everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Baggage Claim with Jazz and Charles. This is the only show where we teach you how to claim the bag, secure the bag, and most importantly, protect the
Protect the
bag.
bag.
That's right.
Yes. Gotta protect the bag.
Definitely. I'm Charles,
I'm Jazz.
and we are coming to you on a beautiful Sunday. How you doing today?
I'm feeling good. I'm feeling good. How are you?
I'm okay. My weekend was okay. We'll
I'm
get into that though.
I'm feeling super good
Yeah.
because I've got a beautiful story to share.
Oh man.
Yes, a friend of mine actually reached out
Mm-hmm.
and said that she had the opportunity to sign for a loan that was compound interest,
Mm-hmm.
but she did not know. She watched our show and realized, oh snap, this is compound interest. Let me pass on that one. And then another opportunity to sign for a loan with simple interest came up,
Mm-hmm.
and boom, just like that, we are
Wow.
helping people, and
Okay.
that's why we're doing it. Yes.
So she learned that quick. So
That
she
quick.
changed her plans
Yes.
because of last episode.
One episode, not only did she change her plans, she saved herself so much money
Oh, that's
in
beautiful.
interest. If you don't know what we're talking about concerning compound and simple interest and saving money, go back and watch after this one. After this episode, go back and watch the first episode of Baggage Claim. We broke down interest and all about it. It was awesome.
Definitely. Definitely make sure you go back and check that out. That's really the reason that we do this. Just to give knowledge to people. It's not enough to rely on your own knowledge because we're not always, you can't be experts at everything, right?
That's true.
You cannot, and so that's the reason that we're here today, just to give you some knowledge.
Absolutely.
I'm glad you told me that story too, because today I have a story as well,
Okay.
and it really ties into today's topic, of saving, and investing.
Yes.
So I recently reconnected with a friend, and this is someone I say I'm close with. They hit me up, we got to speak a bit, we chopped it up, and it was because they saw the show.
Oh, that's good.
For sure.
Oh, bringing friendships back together. You're welcome, Charles. Okay.
No, I appreciate it. And so, we spoke about their financial situation. They just graduated grad school. They got the new job.
Okay.
Things are looking well. They're doing well for themselves out in a new city. And so I'm thinking, all right, they're probably doing really well. But, it's the difference between the show, what you see, and what's behind. Look on the gram, it's popping, it's on and
Fashion
popping.
killer.
Fashion killer, all of that. But, he told me about a situation and it's not the best. So he's bringing in, good income. He's bringing in a nice amount and his expenses aren't too high. So in total, he's netting about, let's say, $1,600 per month, right?
Netting meaning after expenses are paid.
After
So
expenses,
that's free money.
$1,600 per month. That's what he has to work with to do whatever he wants
That's
to
beautiful.
do. I'm saying,
Yeah.
it's so many adults who don't have that. So, that's a gem. So with that being the case, how much do you think he would have, in his savings?
A decent amount. At least I'd say at least 5,000.
Yeah, I think it's about $200.
Oh no, 200. Oh man.
That's like one of the Christmas reactions,
Oh.
like, oh no. Yeah, it could be better. It's not the best situation, about $200, but it's okay because they understand where they're at now and how they can improve. But on top of that, the situation currently, it gets worse. So they have this $200 in savings. I asked them, okay, do you have any funds elsewhere to pay for a big expense if you need it? They said no. And then on top of that, they actually have credit card debt. Student loans on the side. Aside from that, they have credit card debt. So on one card, they have a $500 limit. They owe about $500. So that's about 95 to 100% utilization, meaning you're using your card that much. Then they have a $9,000 card, right? Guess the utilization on this one.
Based on the habits, I'd say like 70%.
That's a good guess. But no, it's actually 99%
Oh.
utilization.
Take me out.
Yeah.
No way. It sucks,
It's
man.
unfortunate, 99% utilization. I asked him, if anything were to happen to you, are you able to pay off this debt? He said no. So I'm like, all right, so this is a really bad situation in a hole. Where did your money go? They didn't know.
Oh, dang. because the income's there, the savings not, and the debt's there. So it's like something's happening. Charles and I see that all the time. It's very common, actually. It's a lot of people's situations, and it's
Yeah.
unfortunate. We see so many times like, wow, you got a good job. Your income is there. And then you're like, oh, but where did the money go?
Mm-hmm.
What happened?
Well, what happens is, you're not building those habits early.
Mm.
So like you always say, we see it a lot because working here at the Henderson Financial Group, there are a lot of cases, of good, a lot of bad, but you're getting that experience. It's like being a doctor, having people come in. Some people are going to be in great health. Some people are going to have shingles.
Yeah.
Some
Oh,
people are going to, be a model of success, and some people are mismanaging. But it's okay because you're coming in for help. But, being that we see so many cases, those bad habits travel. For instance, we see older people who honestly can't help themselves when it comes to managing their money.
Yeah. We definitely see cases where this person's older, and you would think like with time they got it right, but it's about those habits. I mean, like we see cases where people have come into a lump sum, whether it's inheritance or scratch offs, or, whatever it may be. You got
Lottery
some money.
winner.
Yeah, you came up on a bag. It's
Yeah.
lit. Like you got something now. You would think that that's just gonna solve all your problems. And it's so funny. I see tweets like that all the time. Like, what do I need? I need $1 million. I need my problems
More
solved.
money.
Yeah, and you think like the more money you have, the less problems you have.
Yeah.
Oh, I guess that's why they say more money, more problems.
Honestly, as that income rises, those expenses rises. So
Yeah.
in this, this person's case, one of the cases we see, you come in, you got a bag, big bag, which is what we all want.
Big bag.
But if you don't have those habits in place, you're going to blow it. So imagine, you get $1 million, you're 50, 60 years old, you think you set, but that's not the case.
Start.
Uncle Sam got to get his piece. He taking it out. And then, you got to get the new car. You
Aw.
got to get the Tesla
Yeah,
because your
yeah.
coworker got the Benz.
Oh,
Then the other one
you
got the
gotta stunt in
Beamer.
the Tesla.
You got to stunt. So you
Yeah.
get the new car. You probably upgrade your life living. And with that, it's really not that much left over. You think it is, but it's really not
So you basically spent the bag on expenses.
on expenses.
Things that you're going to have to continue to pay for years to come once that bag is gone.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really just about the habits, because it's so crazy. You think, wow, if only I had a job that paid me a lot of money. But in the case with your friend, that's decent money to be walking away with, after expenses.
Absolutely.
And it's like, dang. So it's not about how much money you make. It's about how you manage that money. It's the money management and the habits behind why you're spending your money and what you're spending your money on.
High key. And that's what we really want to hit home today. So today is mostly about saving and investing. But, there are steps to things. So last week we talked about interest rates, as you all know, because we really wanted to help you with something that's here and now. It doesn't help to tell you about something that's super far off. We want to help you with something that can help you
Step
right
by
now,
step.
because a lot of people have student loans, right?
Yeah.
Credit cards,
Yeah.
a lot of debt.
Yeah.
So last episode helps a lot.
Yeah.
But with today, we really want to hammer home, save. You got to save before you invest. That's important, and it comes back to discipline.
Yeah. And talking about money and talking about savings, that's kind of taboo. It makes a lot of people uncomfortable. We don't like to talk about it amongst our friends. We don't like to talk about it amongst our family at all.
You ever ask your parents about the finances?
No, they don't
I
want to tell you
promise.
nothing. No, as a child,
It's
I'm
a
like,
big
how much
thing.
money do you make? You don't get no answer. It's so weird. Yeah, but honestly, it's weird to talk about, and it makes us uncomfortable. And then that translates into like you're going home now and you're still not trying to talk about it. You still don't want to look at what you got going on. You're like closing your eyes and just like writing checks and just dealing with the consequences later. And you're kind of messing yourself up.
High key, you're messing yourself up. And I'm glad you said self-love. I'm really glad, because, you think millennials, self-love, that's the big thing
We
now,
love
right?
self-love.
Self-love. What we going to do?
Facials.
We going to do facials.
Yeah.
We going to go to brunch.
We're going to brunch.
We going to travel. That's what we going to
Post it
do.
on the gram.
Nah, the flicks, they got to be right there.
Yeah. No, and that's important.
There's
We're not
nothing wrong with
bashing
that.
that. We go brunch, and that's okay. You know what I'm saying? We're
For
not sitting here
sure.
saying, like, don't have fun, don't live life because you want money. Like, money is awesome, and it gives you choices and options, but it's not everything, and it's very important to live. But it's also very important to, like, track yourself and see what
Definitely.
you got going on.
And it goes back to self-love,
Yes.
It's self-love because you're managing and taking care of it. So self-love, what is that? To me, is really discipline. You know, imagine you're a parent and you're not keeping track of what your kid is doing. So they walking around here, they're raggedy, their
Not
clothes are
calling people
dirty,
kids raggedy.
shoes tore up,
Oh
they
my
haven't
goodness.
showered in a few days
Oh.
because you're not keeping track of your
It's a
children.
reflection of you.
You're a bad parent. You
Oh.
know, I'm sorry, you're a bad parent. You have to take care of your money the same way that you would a child, because, you know, this is something that is going to, you need it unless you want to live in a monastery or the woods, or
The
that's
woods.
not your, you know, that's not your goal. But for most people, we need money.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
you have to take care of it, because, you know, mismanaging of that will lead to mismanaging in other places. But if you
Absolutely.
take care of your money, it's going to take care of you down the line.
Absolutely. And this may seem uncomfortable because, again, talking about money is uncomfortable. So stick with us because we're going to take you through the mud. But we promise we're not just coming at you with problems
Slight
and sticking
drag.
your face in it. Yeah, slight drag. But I promise we're going to pull you back up and we're going to offer solutions and ways and how, because that's the one thing we want to do. We don't ever just want to come on here and chastise everybody. Like, look what you're doing. You're doing it wrong. We're going to offer you solutions as well.
No, absolutely. So, like you said, problems. One problem is budgeting. You know, a lot of people, they want to get to the flashy things, you know, stock market, invest in things of that nature, even options, but
Big boy talks.
big boy talk, but you have to have a bag before you can do something with it. So this brings us to a budget. Most people don't budget. You know,
No.
the majority of people do not budget. If you actually look at it, we got a little stats here. The majority of Americans, just under 80%, actually live paycheck to paycheck.
And what does that really even mean, paycheck to paycheck? We hear that all the time.
That means if you missed one paycheck, you would be in a lot of trouble.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. A lot of people do live like that. That's sad.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And so, you know, one way to help with that would be a budget, right? The budget, and that brings us to the 50-30-20.
The 50-30-20. If you look it up, everything we say here, you can fact check us. We're not sitting here making stuff up.
Nah,
The 50-30-20 budget is the budget that most people go off of. Either you're not doing a budget at all or you're doing something simple like the 50-30-20. If you're not doing a budget at all, at least start with the 50-30-20.
yeah,
But if you are someone who just sees your life as this luxury life and you want to live and you want to travel and you want to flex, the 50-30-20 is, I wouldn't say it's so efficient. And this is why. 50% of your income, that means whether you're going on an annual basis or paycheck to paycheck, 50% of your income going towards your expenses, all your bills, all that kind of stuff. And then 30% going towards leisure, like if you want to get your nails done, your hair, just clothes, anything
yeah,
you want.
whatever you want to do.
20% going towards your savings. I don't really think, because if you think about it, you're putting more into spending than you are into saving. And back to self-love, who do you love better? Yourself or that store who you're giving your money to every time you get paid? And not only that, but when you do the 50-30-20, you're literally allocating 30% of your income to things. Not only just things, because sometimes it's expenses. You're buying more expenses and you got to put 50% towards your expenses. And it's kind of counterproductive.
Absolutely. And so, you know, let's really sit down and think about it. 50-30-20, that's the most popular budget. So a lot of us right now are young. 50-30-20, it's conservative, you know, but it's not the best for us, because when you really think about it, if you're only saving and investing 20% of your income, you know, that's not taking into account real life, because real situations happen. For instance, just this weekend, you know, I'm kind of embarrassed to say how much I spent, because
Oh,
no, I wasn't just living recklessly.
what you do?
I got towed, and I got a ticket,
Oh.
and in the same week I had to take my car to the shop. But because I have a budget, you know, I was actually able to handle those things, you know, efficiently, and it wasn't too much sweat for me. So when you think about that, you want to budget so that you can handle those things. And another thing, you know, you're putting this money aside 20%, but how often do you have to drain the tank as you get older, you know?
Yeah. Every time you're putting your 20% aside, it's going well. But every time there's an expense, you just got to take off the top. You got to take from the middle, take. And it's just like, oh, man.
It's like a rat race, you know?
Yeah.
You constantly having to go back, and I'm sorry, I saw a comment.
Yeah.
What are
we got
the
a question.
things that you and Charles wasted money on before you knew better? Let's not do that. We could
Oh
talk about
man.
that
My
later. It was a lot.
business.
But, it's real life for us. I'm glad you put that comment. The things that we used to waste our money on, that's less so important. What's more important is the fact that we used to waste money, but once we got this budget, we were able to change our ways,
It
right?
puts things into perspective.
Yeah,
So I don't want to sit here and be like, I used to get my nails done every week, because if that's something that's important to you, you can still get your nails done every week.
definitely.
But when you are actually looking at what you're working with, that's how you'll know, like, oh, this got to get canceled. For me, because I like to do other things, like I like Miami Spa Month and I like to vacation, I like to do other things, nails just wasn't as important to me. So I cut that out. So it's different for everybody. But it's really important that you just take a look, because it's kind of like you wouldn't hop in the car and go for a road trip without even checking to see if you got gas.
For sure.
That's the same thing. Like, oh, I'm going for a drive. Let's see what happens. Ride till the wheels fall off. And that's not really smart. That's the same thing. It's just spending. You getting paid. You spending. You racking up expenses. And you're not even checking to see what you got, what you'll have after this. If you get this, how much will it leave you with? It's a plan.
Absolutely. And it reminds me of a Jay-Z lyric. I love saying this. I'm not a businessman. I'm a business man. You're a black-owned business.
Love
You
that.
know, if you're a black-owned business, but you don't know what's going out, what's coming in, you're bound to fail.
Oh, you're saying like you yourself are a black owned
You
business.
yourself are a
Yes, I
black-owned
love that.
business.
I'm a
Treat yourself
black-owned
like a business.
Yes.
For sure, for
Yeah.
sure. And one thing that people often forget, considering that we're so young, we like to have fun early, but real life is going to hit. You really want to take care of things early, take care of them right now, because things are going to come up. So let's say right now you're 24, 25, 23, however old you are, real life is going to happen. People want to get married, people want to have children. Well, with marriage comes a ring, then comes the wedding, and then you probably want to move in together. You may get the house, then you may get the car. And then going from that, you may have some children. Children are expensive.
Very
I would know. I was a child before. So the kid asking for,
constantly asking.
can you take me to soccer practice? Dad, can you take me to cheer? Mom, can you take me to basketball? Oh, Girl Scouts, Boy
All that
Scouts,
costs money.
all type
All
of
that costs
things.
money. So while you're young, your expenses are probably less than they'll ever be in your whole life.
Honestly.
Just because as you get older, things just get more expensive.
Really think about it. Didn't you have more freedom and less responsibility when you were 5 than you were 10? Then 10 when you were 15? We complain now like, oh my gosh, adulting is so
Yeah.
much. I promise you it gets worse.
Yeah. Oh, no, it gets better. But if
You get more
if you know what
responsibility.
you're doing, yeah. And honestly, when it comes to like putting money aside every month, it really just goes for what your goals are, because not everybody's goal is to live in a high rise and live luxury. So if you want to keep a modest life and just have you an emergency fund, that's cool. But we as a people, our generation, we love to talk about generational wealth so much and breaking those generational chains. We love to talk about generational wealth. And it's kind of like, oh, well, did we ever really think about how we were going to get to that point? Because putting 20% aside, that's not likely to last your kids' lifetime.
No, definitely.
No.
And you know what? I see a comment from Jarvis. You said the 40-60. I'm glad you said that, because that's the one that I follow. But with that, not everyone could be in the same situation. I'm blessed enough where I can actually invest, save and invest about 40 to 50% of my income, but not everyone's in the same situation. And with that, I would recommend that you do what works best for you and stick to it. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you're just working out and you're doing push-ups, you're doing sit-ups, you're running, that's good. But if you really want to take it to the next level, you probably need to see, a trainer, someone who's going to say, okay, here is your dietary plan. Here is your workout plan. Do it this amount of time, do it X, Y, Z. So you probably need help. It's like, would you do surgery on yourself?
No.
No.
Go to the expert. And honestly, if budgeting is not your thing and figuring it out is not your thing, you don't have to do it by yourself. Call us at
Absolutely.
305 825 1444. There are people out there who can help you. Just like if I need a knee surgery, I'm not going to cut my knee open. I'm going to go to the surgeon. They got it.
Definitely. Once again, that's 305-825-1444. Henderson Financial Group. We can help you out with whatever you need. But, getting back into it. So we're giving you this knowledge. That's budgeting, right? Really sit down and do it. Please, 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 because it's so important. Don't just think for now, think for the future. And the main thing to remember is, if you manage your money, if you take care of it right now, it's going to take care of you. I promise that it's going to take care of you.
Yeah, honestly, I like the fact that with this episode, we've combined the importance of saving and budgeting, and that can lead us to how you get to investing. Because
Absolutely.
it seems scary, honestly, the story Charles told about his friend. That's so many people's realities. So if you hear yourself in that and you're like, oh, snap, don't panic. You're young. There's time. We got you. And honestly, if you take the time to figure it out now, you won't be in such a bad position later.
Absolutely.
And to invest, to get to that point of investing, that like big boy talk, as we said, you have to have something. That's like you trying to get into the club, you're not even dressed up, and they're like, this is not for you, look at you in your flip-flops. Everyone
Oh,
in
wow.
there is stunt. You got to stunt if you want to come. So like you can't expect something from nothing. So that budget and that bag that you're accumulating and that 20% aside, well, we hope it becomes 30% or 40 or whatever. That you're putting money aside is not just so it can sit there. It's so that you can sow some seeds. You could put that money in and thank yourself in 20 years.
Definitely. And I see a comment here. Someone said, how do you budget with inconsistent income?
Oh, that's a good
That's
question.
honestly a really good question
is.
because, a lot of people may be in college, they may be in grad school, or you could be an entrepreneur, which is a beautiful thing. With that, I think you really need to sit down and look over everything. So because you don't have that consistent income, that W-2, your case is a little different from most. So you need to be on top of it. You're really a business. You have inconsistent income. So treat yourself like an entrepreneur, like a business. Look, at your past year or however so long and look, okay, I'm receiving funds this month. I'm receiving funds this month. Estimate how much, you plan to get, set your goal, and then determine, how much you need to spend off of that. With you may need to be a little tight. So you may have to cut out a few things that don't matter, but you have to do what works for you. So basically what I'm saying is based on what you've earned in the past and what you can reasonably expect, look at how much you plan to make, month to month, and then, divvy that up. So divide up that income based on your expenses to what you need. And then from there, you can save and you can invest because that's really what this is about.
Yes, and the thing about being young is that it gives you such a head start. There's a saying, while you're young, you should invest aggressively. When we think, while you're young, you save aggressively, therefore you
man.
can invest aggressively. Because once you get that bag,
Mm.
just it's really about getting that bag. Like
Once
that
you get that
first
bag.
Once you get that bag, it's over with. Charles,
Yeah.
is it over with?
I promise it's over.
with. Yeah, once you start, you got to start somewhere. So we have an example, someone
Oh, yeah.
who invests young versus someone who invests older.
I'm glad you brought that up. So invest young. A lot of people think, oh, I need to bring $10,000, $5,000 to the table. You actually don't. And we're going to give you a scenario. So let's look at someone who's 25 years old. Millennials, I looked at our average income. I understand, you may not have that much right now, but, it's not about what you have. It's about what you keep and invest. So let's say 25 years old, they only put in $1,000 one time. So you have $1,000 saved up, you drop it in an investment. Then from there, you put $100 per month every year into that investment. That's manageable, right?
Yeah, you eat that like 3 times over at restaurants. We be in the restaurants.
Sometimes one, if you're going to, nice places, Noble or whatever you want to
how
go.
we like to eat.
Ruth, come
Our
on
people.
now. So, $100 per month, that's not too much. That's just self-love. So you drop
self-love.
$1,000 in, then you do $100 per month. Just keep it going. Now you're doing this from age 25 to age 65, getting 7% annually. Simple.
40 years?
40 years, 25 to 65.
Okay.
Now let's look at someone else who didn't start so early. So with this case, they are older, so they have more funds at their disposal. They drop $10,000 in one time, and then what they do is $250 every single month from age 45 to 65. That's 20 years. And they're getting the same 7% annually. right? So we could recap that real quick.
Mhm.
25-year-old to age 65. They do $1,000 one time, and then they do $100 every single month.
Okay.
The 45-year-old has 20 years, 45 to 65. They do $10,000 one time,
Mhm.
and then they're doing $250 per month up
Okay.
until age 65.
7% for both.
7%.
Okay.
So all in all, the older person actually puts in more money than the younger person.
Yeah, with that
You
$10,000.
can check it, do that math.
Yeah.
Guess who has more funds at age 65?
Well, I would think if I didn't know anything about finance or
Yeah.
compound interest, I would think the older person
Mhm.
because they put 10,000 in. The younger person only put 1,000. So you put in 10,000 and they're putting a monthly contribution of $250. So that's over double.
It sounds right,
yeah,
right?
it sounds right.
But it's not right. It's not right. The young 25-year-old winning.
Okay,
That's right, Jarvis.
Jarvis.
So the younger person who's doing that $100 per month, that's it. At age 65, they have $254,537. And the older person who put in more ends up with $161,684.
That's almost $100,000 difference.
Just about 100,000.
Wow.
Yeah, so really think about that.
And they put in less.
They put in much
The
less
25-year-old
every single month.
put in less and ends up with more. What is
Yeah.
that? What is that?
Oh, I think that is the beauty of compound interest.
interest.
And this is my favorite thing to throw out. Albert Einstein called compound interest the eighth wonder of the world. If you don't listen to Albert Einstein, who are you listening
Who are you
to?
gonna listen to?
Nah, but in all seriousness,
That difference is huge.
it's huge.
And it's just about starting early. So I think
That's
it's
what
safe
it
to
is.
say we can see how compound interest works with time.
Mm-hmm.
And this episode being about saving while you're young, investing while you're young, that's the whole point of it all. You have time, but don't let that time pass you by because there's
Absolutely.
not a single person who started young who regrets starting young.
Absolutely.
Not a single person is like, oh, I was investing. I wish I didn't. No, they're reaping the benefits. They're living off those investments. They're
Definitely.
traveling. They're living that luxury life that we love to see. They're flicking up for the glam, for the gram on their vacations. And it's because they started young.
Absolutely. That's the beauty of it. A lot of people, like we mentioned, think that it takes a lot, but really just start with anything and be smart about it. We're going to be talking to you about investments, over these next few weeks. We're going to get into the details of each one. So I know a lot of people are interested in insurance, you're interested in the stock market, real estate, all type of things.
Yeah.
We want to really break it down, but first we had to give you investing. So it really doesn't take much. Start with a little bit and know your risk tolerance. That's a very important thing. If you know that you really don't want to lose money, don't go hop in options. I know it sounds fun, but please, please, please do not just, go hop into something.
I think sometimes the word invest kind of sounds scary to people. It sounds like there's risk involved no matter what, but there are really safe investments.
Absolutely.
Yeah, there are options out there for everybody. We've got older clients who are like, oh, I don't like that market. Ooh, I'm scared. And that's okay. Because
Yeah.
to tell you the truth, I'm a little bit scared of the market too. It's so unpredictable. But there are some people who really love that. You get a rush. They see the gains. With great risk comes great rewards. So it's not like
Definitely.
it's for nothing. It's
And
the
what's
reason
some
it's been
things,
around like this.
we put the older people in?
Sometimes we give the older people annuities. We give the older people ETFs. You talked about those options, and it's
Even
all still
insurance.
stocks. You know what I'm saying? There's options for the risky. There's ETFs for the safe. There's insurance. There's so many avenues out there. So when we say invest, it's not just like get risky, throw your money out there. It's like, no, really take the time to see what works for you because there's something for everybody.
No, absolutely. Absolutely. I see actually a comment right here. By the way, if you guys have any comments, feel free to just drop it in. We're speaking about saving and investing. We're going to get more into investments these next few weeks, but right now we really want to hammer home saving. Mr. Mars Rashad, how you doing? He said, I paid $850 for DraftKings option that expired out of the money, but I learned and got better. LOL.
Period. You learn.
You learn. That's the important thing. And by the way, we're going to teach you all about options. That's something that we really love here. I'm actually a huge Huge
Options
fan of
guy over here.
options.
He is working it.
We are going to teach you all about that because, these investments are really life changing. Really, really learn it. Really, really learn it because I promise if you understand it, it's going to change your life.
So stick with us. We will walk you through it. It would have been irresponsible of us to get on here and talk about all these investment options when we didn't even talk to you about how to be ready for those investment options. You got to show up to the club with your heels on. You got to show up with your button up.
Got to be ready.
You got to be ready. They're not letting you in your flip-flops. You don't want to be the person in the room and they're like, hey, y'all, I got a money opportunity. Everyone with money, follow me. And you can't join that conversation because you were too busy making sure you got that 30% for whatever you want to spend every time you got paid.
That's tough.
Yeah.
That's really tough.
And it's real life, and it's not to come down on anybody, but we hope this made you take a look at yourself. We hope it encourages you to take a look at what you got going on. You're not just hopping in the car driving to Orlando, not checking your gas tank. Check that gas tank, see what you're working with. And even so, there are budgets that are goal oriented. So if you know at the end of the year you want $10,000, do what you got to do. If you don't know how to do it, give us a call.
Absolutely.
5-825-1444.
We really love saying that.
I know, because it's got a rhythm to it.
It does. So, let's do a quick recap. The main thing to remember, save your money first. Get that budget. It doesn't matter how you do it. It's the fact that you do it. If I ask you to get me from A to B, I don't care how you do it. Just get me from A to B, please. And one thing that we actually talk about a lot, we laugh at this, what's it called? We laugh at this, example. If a squirrel, you know better than you got it.
You know how like squirrels save up for the winter and in the summertime they're like eating, but they putting some aside for later because you don't want to be the squirrel out there in the middle of the snow looking for nuts and they're all under the snow and it's nothing but predators out there.
Now you look, that is crazy.
You're out there in the cold. All the other squirrels who were safe, they're like up in the trees eating their nuts that they saved, and here you are in the snow with the predators. Okay, the people who are coming to hunt you, and you're like, dang, I didn't think this far ahead.
And what would that be in real life? That's not having money when it comes to tax time, not having money saved up when it comes time for an investment. It's really so much out here, but you have to prepare for it. It's not about getting ready once it's time, but you want to stay ready. You know what I'm saying? Stay ready.
Yes.
Because when it comes time for that down payment, you want to be ready, going through pre-qualified and all of that. When it comes time to put money in an investment in the next big Tesla, the next big Google, you don't want to be the one missing out.
You want to be ready. Yeah, because those money opportunities, once you get into it, once you get into the world of like money, those opportunities just come and you hear about them and you're talking to someone and you're like, oh, you got to hook up. You want to be qualified. You want to be able to be in that room having that conversation.
Absolutely. And shout out to Jarvis. Man, you're a superstar.
Yes.
Jarvis is young. He just said, I closed on my first investment property duplex Friday. Needed some real estate.
Jarvis.
Man, we really love real estate here. I cannot wait until we get into it with you guys. Tune in for these next few weeks where we get into every single investment. We really want to get into it, get into the nitty gritty, but of course, break it down like a 6-year-old.
Yes,
that way you can understand respectfully. Yes.
Yes. Thank you for tuning in. This has been episode 2 of Baggage Claim with Jazz and Charles. Follow our Instagram at Baggage Claim TV and like those videos, comment, share. Do like we're doing, sharing knowledge and information. Share it with your family and friends. We appreciate all the love. We appreciate all the comments.
And definitely. And, we actually have a lot of shows here at the Henderson Financial Group.
Yes.
There's something for every single age group, every demographic. Money finds money. That's a great comment. That's true. But we got videos for every single age group, every demographic. So Saturdays, we have a show from 8 to 9:15. We got one from, I think 9:30 to 10:30. We have so many different shows. We have a Wednesday show with, Tavares and Antonio. So everyone at the Henderson Financial Group has a slate lined up. Go check those videos out. Shouts out to Miss Linda. She's in the comments right now.
Yes.
She is an established financial advisor who, tells you guys about her experiences in the field. Go ahead and tune in.
She got her first investment property at age 25 and one every year after that.
Wow.
And she's reaping is it weeping or
reaping?
Reaping. There we go. I'm like weeping. She's reaping the benefits of those moves she made when she was young. And if you ask her, she does not regret it. It don't look like she regret it.
No.
Doesn't she walk in like so like
I
hello, like all
promise.
her like long
People who
outfits
have
and
money, they just
she
seem so
walks
carefree.
different. Walks different.
Definitely.
All right. So thank you guys and have a good night.
Have a great one, guys.